I think we talk about the portfolio videos a lot, and we do not mention the introduction video as much.
Guess what? This is the only thing that anyone will ever see of you.
What advice would you give them they should put into that intro video, since obviously that is the first things the brand would see?
All right, so today we are having Andrea as a special guest because we are going to talk about portfolios, creators' portfolios. From a Clips perspective, we kind of like touched this subject on our approval process in our very, very long time ago now episode with Andrea, but we just wanted to come back and dive a little bit more into what the portfolio should look like when you apply as a creator on Clip, but also maybe just from a creator's perspective, what are the ways of creating a portfolio? I've seen a lot of creators that have a Canva, for example, or they have their own website. So it would be great to talk about those kind of things as well. But I think first of all, let's just talk about Clip and the portfolios there.
So basically, whenever a creator gets through the application process, they would need to upload the introduction video and a portfolio section, which some creators think of the portfolio section as the more important part of the whole application process. However, the introduction video is the first thing we see. So, and also the first thing the brands see if they get approved on the platform. So I do think the introduction video is quite important. I know that some creators do it in a bit of a rush, and although they might not have a very impressive introduction video, they will have some very nice portfolio videos, and of course we will accept them on the platform. However, in terms of like leaving first impressions, and also whenever a brand goes through your profile and sees the introduction video first, if you have a very like nicely edited, high quality, very thoughtful introduction video, the brand would be more likely to scroll into your portfolio section. So I do like to emphasize that, because I think we talk about the portfolio videos a lot and we do not mention the introduction video as much. If you have an introduction video that shows some has a compilation of your past projects that is nicely edited, maybe you show off your talking to the camera skills, maybe you have some effects. I'm just putting myself into the brand shoes, and I would like to scroll a bit down and see other content from the creator if they have like a very nicely edited and curated introduction video, if that makes sense. So that is definitely a very, very important thing for me. I do take into consideration the portfolio videos a little bit more than the introduction video, just because it can always be updated, and it's still more important what the creator can do. Like their video editing skills are more important than the actual introduction video. I always love to see like some very, very nice introduction videos. They can fill out the portfolio section a bit later if they have like a very nice video in the beginning.
So would you say, Andrea, because you're looking at the portfolio in a very different way than a brand would, right? Because you're looking at the portfolio looking for the possibilities, or almost like the opportunity that the creators might have potentially with Clip. But then brands obviously are looking into, is this creator the right fit? The thing in common is obviously the quality and your personality, right? So that authentic side of things that we discussed so many times now, that is so, so crucial. But it's a really good point that you made, that the intro video is just as important, because for you, but also for the brand, this should, show your skills, obviously, alongside with the portfolio pieces that really just showcases who you are to that brand, but also to Andrea when she's accepting you or rejecting it, right? So it's very important to have those pieces together to make sure that this actually shows who you are, because guess what? This is the only thing that anyone will ever see of you. So treat it seriously in terms of like what you're showcasing is what someone else on the other end will see.
And just on that as well, about portfolios, for someone that is actually wanting to create the first introduction video, what advice would you give them, kind of things that they should put into that intro video, since obviously that is the first things the brand would see?
So basically for me, it's the introduction video on one page and then the portfolio videos on the other page. But for the brands, it's like when they scroll, it's the introduction video first and then the portfolio videos. So I would definitely say showcase your personality and be very upbeat, very kind of engaging in the introduction video, just so you can actually make the brands want to scroll through your content afterwards. So maybe have a nice setting, of course, have a nice lighting. I think we've talked about that so many times, but also like try to have like a catchy hook or something like that. Also try to list like all of the brands that you've worked with in the past, if you have, or if not, then maybe try to add some. You would have to upload at least 3 product videos, which I think we talked about. Even if you don't have actual brand collaborations in the past, you can still do some product shot examples. So maybe you can add some of those like as a compilation in the video, which can definitely make the brand be like, oh, they have this experience, they can definitely do this job, even though they might not be actually working with brands at the moment, or have not had any brand collaborations in the past. Speak to a camera, but also maybe try, if you're doing some compilation of other videos, try to have voiceover over that, so you can show like diversity. You can show that you can talk to a camera, you can also do voiceover, you're showing product shots. I've seen so many creators also do some like effects, like when they have a text, they will do like a popping sound or something like that. That's also a very nice touch. It shows that you've put some thought into like creating the whole introduction video. I know it takes time. I am quite aware that it takes time, but if you're trying to be a successful creator on the platform and trying to get your first collaboration on the platform, and also all of the other ones, it's still very nice to have a very polished introduction video, just because that is something that doesn't change. Your portfolio section will change over time because you will upload new videos, but you can still change the introduction video, but you might not think of it if you get accepted on the platforms, as Nicola.
Yeah, we've been there.
Has not changed. And even if it's a very organic video, I like it. It would still be nice to have at least some organization, some thought behind creating the.
Yeah, I get it, Andrea. I get it.
I think just on that too. So say, for example, I'll use Nicola as an example here. Sorry, Nicola, you're getting dogged already. You're Nicola, and your introduction video is a little old, and since then you've obviously done a load of things.
Yeah.
What would a creator need to do then if they're like, actually, I want to get that updated? Because maybe they didn't know, because obviously too, I personally didn't know that was the first thing they seen. I always assumed it was just my portfolio videos, whereas my introduction video too, I'm like, oh, that needs change. So how would someone go about actually getting that part changed?
Please tell me.
You can update the portfolio section by yourself, but you cannot update the introduction video by yourself. But you can always reach out to us. We will update it for you. If you send us the video and just say it, please change it from like, I need to have a different introduction video, we will do it for you.
Perfect. No, I think that's really useful for people too, because sometimes they don't know, they don't realize. And always too, it's best foot forward. So like making sure. And I think too, I really liked that what you said was kind of adding in those social proofs to your introduction video, like even if it's like reviews or like overlays of past projects and stuff too. Completely agree, because the more you can nearly fit into that video, the better. And this goes down to even too, if you have got some, like sometimes brands, they might be like, oh, this is how it performed, and tell you, put that into it too, so people can actually see measurable results. And then it's a little bit more kind of your CV in a video, you could say.
Yeah.
That like they go on, they see personality, they see experience, they see results, they get it all in one go. So yeah, I think that's a really good one.
When it comes to showcasing your work, be very critical about what you're putting in there as well, but also you need to really edit it down. And that's a skill itself, is to edit your own work, to really put those like best clips in. Be mindful when you add brand logos too, because for some brands, the more social proof, the better. But some brands might be put off if you've been everywhere, if that makes sense. So that perfect balance in between is probably, 5, 6 brands maybe to mention, your top ones or the ones that you feel the most proud of, and have those little clips as well. So just that kind of mindfulness is really good for editing yourself down, to also feel like you're still humble enough, but also you've experienced stuff and you've done a lot to show for yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to become, I think, too much the face of something, because then that'll put off competition, because then they'll be like, oh, actually, no, they're too with that. We can't use them for our kind of ideas too. I've started seeing now on TikTok even videos too, and it actually caught me off. I was like, this is mad. It was a comment under a video, and it was like quite a popular UGC creator who's English. And under it was like, flip me, this girl's everywhere and doing ads for everyone. I was like, that is nearly the start. Because then I was like, for that brand, obviously, that used that, and she made a fantastic video, but straight away I was like, ooh, that's annoying, because now if they see that, they'll probably be like, shit, we just look like we're jumping on the bandwagon. I think that's something, though, that's just part and parcel of the industry, and also, too, comes back to
Just part of it.
brands. Yeah, like, use a variety of people as well, and if you don't want to face the brand type person, then try to, like, just be a wee bit more particular as well, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think don't get put off by the fact that we really appreciate these kind of like very crafted kind of like intro videos with like like snippets of your work. Like, don't put off by this, because we're not necessarily like that. I mean, while we do appreciate those kind of videos, because there's a lot of effort put into them, we also appreciate very like simple kind of like clean videos where you just say, hi, this is me, I've been doing this for X amount of time, I've been working with these kind of brands, my areas of interest is I don't know, lifestyle, skincare, stuff like that, and then maybe the most results that you had with the company, or what kind of results you have generated for them, and stuff like that. So yeah, don't get discouraged by the fact that, hey, we only like those very crafted intro videos.
No.
It's just that we do appreciate those ones, because you will always put more effort into them. However, the simple ones are as appreciated as those ones. It's more about the content that is inside, and the way you speak to the camera, and the way you present yourself, and show that you are comfortable in front of the camera. Because I think the main reason why we wanted this intro video from creators was so that we can see how you behave in front of the camera, and how you would present yourself. Also, for the brands to get a personal touch about yourself, personal feeling. I feel like if you see just the portfolio with product videos, I think it's very different to put a personality to the actual creator. Yeah, show your personality in that intro video. Show us who you really are. Go nuts with the product videos in the portfolio section.
Andrea, I wanted to ask if we could have like a little bit of like a basically list of things that someone could literally make a note to themselves. Let's write a script, for the intro video, what to include. But also to get to Maria's point just really quickly is that personality aspect, right? And I think a little trick to do that I am going to apply to my future intro video that I'm going to work on, is to just have like a little, maybe not cheeky, but like something like an interesting, like, it's how some people share like their party tricks or something like that. Mm-hmm. Do something that's like very unique to you. It could be the most randomest thing. Like, by the way, this is what I love, blah, blah, blah. But this just gives that little relatability, but also just you having that sort of distance to yourself. You're not taking yourself too seriously, and you have that little special something, but just make sure that there's some sort of connection to UGCs or something that could potentially work for brands. So it's like, oh, do you do yoga with your dog? Maybe put it in there, just little something that's quirky, that's yours.
We're going to get now in the intro video, Nicola, with what doing.
Downward facing dog. No, now I said it on the podcast. I won't, but damn it.
I do agree with Maria. I'm not trying to say that they need to have a whole production for the introduction video. However, I'm just trying to say that it's something that it's overlooked from a lot of creators, mainly because I've seen so many introduction videos, and some of them would be just walking around the supermarket and filming the introduction video, which I get. Like, you're like in the spot, you just want to get it over with, and you want
get it
to
done.
show off your work and just basically finish the application. So I'm just trying to say that even if you only speak to a camera, you do not do anything, just try to have at least some notes. Just be very concise and not ramble and ramble. Yeah. I think I mentioned in our live as well, there is one creator which I love so much. She had such a simple video, literally introduction video, just sitting there and talking to a camera, but she was like, oh, I'm wearing a t-shirt with the USA flag on, and but I'm actually British or something like that. And she was kind of funny. Like, if I see that, I would be
You remembered her, yeah.
I still remember her, and it was a long time ago, like a couple of months
Mhm.
ago. So things like that do make an impact on me.
I think even what you're saying there too, a nice way probably thinking about an introduction video is think of it as if it was a video interview in terms of you wouldn't just walk around the shop and just be rambling.
Yeah.
You'd be sitting, you'd be like nicely presented, like in terms of like a nice background, like what you're saying, what you're talking, you would come prepared, put your best foot forward, actually have planned out what you're going to say, have like a little personality in there as well, and then show a little bit of actually your past work or your reviews or like deliverables and that kind of thing. But
That's
A recipe for the introduction video.
Yes.
Okay, so if we were to summarize, what would you put like bullet points into the introduction video? Like literally, how would you start it? How would it look like the body and then the the end of
The CTA.
yeah, CTA, yeah, pretty much like a CTA, yeah.
So I would definitely say start with an engaging hook. That doesn't mean it has to be like something very out of ordinary. It can just be a very hi or just very showing off your personality in that first like few sentences. Definitely talk about your experiences if you have any, or if you're just starting out, talk about what you're interested in. I do like when creators mention that they would be open to working in varieties of niches because they might not be working with brands that are, let's say, like cleaning or homeware or something like that, but they would be open to doing that because that also shows brands. So you have to think about it this way: you're applying to campaigns and you don't necessarily have your introduction video in mind of what you're actually saying there. So let's say you're saying in the introduction video, oh, I love working with beauty brands, but you're applying to work with a brand that has
You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot.
yeah, and it might not look the best. I'm not saying that the brand would not be keen to work with you, but still, like, be mindful of what the introduction video will do for you in the future because it's shown in your portfolio
Yeah.
for like every brand. If you have worked with brands, list a couple of brands as Nicola mentioned, maybe not a lot. Yeah, I would definitely say that. And also, if you can put some past projects in the introduction video, but that's absolutely not necessary because we still do have the portfolio section.
But also for those that haven't gone through the onboarding process as a creator on Clip, we also have some guidelines when you have to upload the intro video. So have a look at those
Oh.
guidelines, and I think we also have some examples of creators in there, so you can get an idea about how it. Get some inspo, exactly. But also take notes of what Andrea said because it's literally kind of like the same thing. Even I think even some more insights. Cool. All right. So now we're done with the intro video, and then under your intro video, it will appear your portfolio section, which consists of at least 3 product videos. So that's the minimum requirement for a creator to eventually join the platform. Right, let's talk a bit about those kind of videos. The more you go through these videos, the more you realize, oh, actually, I would love to see this more because you started to see this in some of the portfolio section.
So I think we talked about just talking to the camera, voiceover. You need to have those included in some of the portfolio videos because it's such an important criteria for us. That definitely stays. However, what I kind of forgot to mention and has been very, very present with a lot of applications is that a lot of creators will try to have the portfolio sections as filled as possible, which is great if you actually have only UGC content in there. But
That's the big point,
some creators will just upload like 2 UGC videos, product videos, and then all of the other ones would be kind of lifestyle content, which is kind of throwing me off because you never know. From my point of view, I have to accept the creator can immediately start applying to campaigns and working with brands. Hopefully they get accepted to a certain campaign. We need to know that that creator will be capable of delivering high quality content to the brand. Like I cannot risk a creator just delivering a random lifestyle content to the brand, if that makes sense. So try to be very concise in what you upload in the portfolio section. Quality over quantity, honestly, because if it's 3 very high quality videos, you will have higher chances of getting approved on the platform compared to just having product videos with a bunch of lifestyle videos in there and just some random videos. So I would definitely say try to be very concise with what you're uploading in the portfolio section, and not just think about, oh, I will upload as many videos as I possibly can.
Anything that you're putting up, make sure you know the point of it. Like, it's not just going up because it's a pretty video. Think all the time, like, would a brand have used that organically or as an ad on there? So you're at a restaurant and you've got like a nice main. That's not UGC video recording just the wee bit. Or if you're like, oh, I'm on holidays and you're recording random bits, fair enough, those clips could be high quality and could then be used in B-roll in UGC videos. But the what is the point of them? That is personal. That is like your lifestyle. If you can't tell from the video what was supposed to be advertised, then that's not a good UGC, because then what would the customer or the viewer then be like, okay, where do I go from here? What do I do?
Yeah, definitely. I actually wanted to ask you, Ali, as well, because obviously when we give feedback to videos, quite often, I don't know about you, but I'm sometimes like, oh, this is a great portfolio piece. You know, when you just know, it just clicks. Like, this is
A bit of everything.
showcasing the right skills is what's the hardest to like edit down when you're trying to be concise with your portfolio, right? Because some videos, you just watch it and you know it's yourself, and it's a bit like, I feel a bit vain sometimes, but I'm like, watch it like 5 times because I'm like, this just clicks. This video just works, you know, and I just know it. This is the feeling that you want to get with your portfolio pieces, definitely. But also just think about those 3 different videos or more, however many you're deciding to upload. Make sure that they showcase different skills. So green screen video, voiceover, testimonial. If you do like a, I don't know, street interviews video, make sure that you've got it there. So, you know, it's just like those things. For example, if you have a podcast set up, do one like that. So people know what they can expect from you, you know, that you've got such variety of skills, not just, I'm sorry, but, you know, most of the people can actually create quite a nice aesthetic shot, but it's just what you do with it.
Yes.
That
is such an important point, that like anyone can take a good picture, can take a good video like that, because we've got amazing phones now and people know, but that no longer, unfortunately, is enough to actually create a good video, because sometimes you see stuff and you're like, that's just not right, and they're not getting why. And it is a skill in its own, having shots and bringing it together and then having a scripted storytelling and actually making it all join. But also to back up your point there as well, because I know we kind of spoke about it before, but for anyone out there too, like what you said about podcast setup, but also think for those videos, what's my unique selling points? Do I have a dog? Do I have a husband, boyfriend, mom, dad that's willing to be in videos? Put those examples in, because you want to be subtly, number 1, showing your skill, but number 2, showing, okay, for a brand, like, oh, but they have a dog. I didn't think of that. That could be a video. Or, oh, their parents, because then you need to think too, ideally, you want that brand to come back for different videos, for different things. And the more you can prove that you can offer, then they were more likely to do that. Good point that you made there is, when you're trying to pick videos and stuff, that's such a thing when it comes to portfolios, that you can have videos that you're like, yeah, it's grand. And then there's other videos like, no, I'm really proud of that video. Put the ones that you're really proud of in, because there's to be so much. Basically, you don't want to have your really good videos lost by all the mediocre things, or like, oh yeah, it was fine. So I think even too, and this is something I'm going to personally do after this even podcast, is go through my portfolio on clip and actually give it a bit of a clear out in terms of like, because you know yourself sometimes, like obviously you'll try your hardest for every video, but certain videos, whether it's a product or whether it was something really related to you, you know, it just feels, there's like a feeling. I don't know, hopefully Nick, you know what I mean here. But like, there's a feeling for things that you're like, that's so me. So I think going over and curating it and making sure everything's just
declutter,
that's it.
Yeah, and also like whenever a creator reaches out and they will be like, I'm applying to campaigns, but I'm not getting accepted. I do mention being like going through the portfolio videos and not just uploading new examples, which in some cases might work, but in some cases you also need to be aware of which portfolio videos are the last uploaded, so they are the ones that are shown to the brands first. And of course, like if you do have some nice UGC examples in there, but the first 3 videos are some either not the content that you're really, really proud of, or just lifestyle videos in there. It would not leave a good impression on the brand. Try to have them as dynamic or as engaging as possible, presenting your personality and or all of your
It is a lot.
It is
But then
a lot.
think about it. It's the same for when a brand is looking for their creator. I think as creators, we don't put ourselves in their position enough. When you go on someone's portfolio, you are not going to watch 20 videos. You're not. You're going to watch 1, 2 max because you're probably looking at 20 other creators as well. So
Yep.
look at all the points that we need to tick, right? We need to be kind of hooky, we need to hook them. We need to make sure that our personality shines through and our skills are on show. Every single one of the video that you upload to your portfolio needs to hit all of those marks. You just don't know what video is going to be clicked on. So you need to
Yeah.
make sure that every one of them is
On
smashing.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I would even say here too, like, because I know we're kind of going on to portfolios and we're talking there specifically about Clip's portfolio, but also people have portfolios outside of that. Thinking of like the niches and having like, this is my good pets video, this is tech, this is makeup, this is skincare, like having those like key ones.
Guide them.
Yes, because I think too when brands are wanting to see, like they don't want to go through 30 videos and be like, what one relates to my brand? So it's like making it as easy as possible for people.
Yeah.
But before we go on to like the other ones, is there anything else here we want to talk about in terms of inside specifically Clip portfolios?
I do want to mention a couple of more things. And also, I would like to mention another thing about portfolios in general, because I am studied graphic design. I've dealt with portfolios in graphic design, but I've learned a few things from my professors. I also would like to mention that it's very important to have nice thumbnails on the videos that you upload in there.
True.
Because it's the first impression. If we're talking about first impressions, that's why I mentioned the introduction video, because it does need to be kind of okay-ish to like be presentable to brands, to be like very organized. Thumbnails are important too as well, because it's like you're more keen to click on that video if it has a very nice thumbnail.
Clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can be a shot from the video. It's just, it doesn't have to be the first actual shot of the video where maybe you have your mouth open or something like that.
Yeah, you're like,
Kind of need to think about that. So that's also important for applications, especially the about section is kind of important, which a lot of creators do not care about. They will be like X, or they would be like about to fill later, or they will be like hi. Like I get that.
About to fill later.
like guys, ChatGPT exists now. Like, stick in a couple of things about yourself, get it to refine. Like, it's not like there's if you
Work smart.
Yeah, like if you don't want to sit down and write it, work smart. Be like, it'll take literally put your prompts in, it'll do it, and it'll fill it out. Obviously, rewrite it in your own way then, but that's a structure for you then to just, and it will take literally a minute to do that instead. I can't believe people do that.
Yeah,
What's the point?
I've seen like cannot be bothered, or don't have
Is this-
anything to say about myself. Like things about that, like
But if you don't care, this comes back to I think the point of like your online portfolio is your it's your cover letter. That's exactly what it is. If you couldn't be asked and you wrote on a cover letter, can't be asked to fill it in later, why would I work? If that's the first thing I see, why would I bother my ass? Like, if they don't care, why do I care?
It's like if you go to a restaurant, but they're like, by the way, we can't be bothered to cook today.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's kind of important because yes, the portfolio section of the application process is the most important part. Your work is the most important part. But still, like let's say I might be thinking of whether or not I should be accepting you, but you have a very nice introduction video, and I can see that you know what you're talking about because you're mentioning UGC, you're mentioning a lot of niches, you're mentioning hook cities, like things like that. Like you can just make a very short and sweet about section about being like, oh, I'm a UGC creator, I know this, I know that, I've worked with this. It might not be the most important part of the application process, but it can still help.
If they were trying to decide between two people and someone has that in and someone doesn't, who's going to get it? Do you know what I mean? It's like that, and it comes back to too, like competition is fierce. That like you have to be trying to tick every box because if you don't, someone else you can bet your dollar.
Someone else will.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen a creator that was a really nice creator. I mean, I liked her, but instead of UGC, she was saying UCG, which it's a stupid mistake. I mean, it can happen, but it shows that, I mean, you might know what you're talking about, but you have also not either researched properly or have not rewatched your introduction video or reread written in the about section. So it's not as polished, let's say. So that might be a useful tip. Try to rewatch the videos and kind of check, because I think a lot of creators are also very, very eager to just apply. But we do have our applications open all the time. Like you can apply tomorrow, you can apply in a week, you can apply whenever you want. So
Also, I just had a random thought about making your introduction video evergreen. So, you don't have to ever look at it again. Obviously, you do want to look at it at least like every now and then. But I'm just thinking, when you say, I've been doing this for X amount of years, instead of that, maybe say since and the year that you started. It's a little thing. It's a shame if you say, I've been doing it for a year, and actually you've been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah,
so, it could be a little bit of a,
So obviously now we spoke about online and clips portfolios within the clip platform. However, we all have portfolios too outside of platforms and our own personal ones. So I want to talk about quickly like the different types that people use. So first of all, if you're wanting to create a portfolio or haven't got a portfolio, even Nicola and you other girls too, what would you advise people to make that on? For example, you've got websites, Canva, what do you think on that?
So for the types of videos, obviously I think the most popular ones would be a shareable link. So your Google Drive, your Dropbox, all of those things, which it has some benefits to it. I think it's quite nicely laid out. You can title them and, people can kind of see to what to expect. But also there's a lot of minuses to it as well. It just doesn't look as polished. It doesn't look as prepared. And the worst thing that can happen is when they have to request an access and it's just all gets messy. And it's just those little things that make you look a certain way professionally, right? Then obviously your Canva, as you mentioned. And I think now you can create a Canva website as well, right? So that kind of blends with that kind of website idea.
So that's personally what my portfolio is on. So on Canva, you can have the website function. However, you may not agree with me, but I personally think it's a personal ick of mine if I see www.thepersonsname.canva.com. This now, other people may not agree, that's fine, but it comes back to, I always think it's more professional if you have your own domain. And if you're taking it serious, it's better to have the own domain. Same when it comes to business email addresses. I don't like it when it's at gmail.com. Have your own domain. The same for Canva. They're not much, I think my domain was like £6 for the year, something like that. They're not expensive. But if you can go in, because in Canva too, it also, if you add your own domain, will get rid of that watermark at the bottom that says made with Canva, which also hate. I don't like that. So you can link in your own domain. You just literally make it up on Canva. It's super easy and super customizable. It is a landing page format. And what I mean by that, it's a one-page website. So it's literally just scrolls the whole way down. But it's such a nice way of actually working through for people. And you can see the portfolio as well. Now, I don't know too, Nicola, if you agree with me or not on this, but I personally think with my own portfolio, I don't have every single video in that landing page website. I have a sneak peek. I do have a button that they can go and see like my entire portfolio, but basically the way I've laid it out, and I think works quite nice, is the fact that I've got my little intro. I've got then my actual introduction video, which is my, hello, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. And then I've got it broken into sections that it's literally one video for each niche. I have it like beauty, skincare, I've got like food, then like fitness, all the different things. So then people can quickly go on, because I think what's so important too is always remember, and people are lazy. So you want to make it as effortless, as least amount of steps as possible for them to actually book you or find you. So when you're going on, like, have your introduction video or something like this. It doesn't have to be an introduction video. I just personally think it's nice to have that. Like, yes, you can have your about you too, I do, but people like watching things as well. So have that to go along. But then go in and have your actual niches, and then have somewhere on it how they can actually contact you, and like some packages and stuff too. So I always like to think about the customer journey when it comes to portfolio, because I see other people's portfolios and it's literally just their portfolio stuck in it. That's it. There's nowhere to say what their email address is to contact them. If you offer booking calls, what their packages are. You don't have to now put prices and all into it if you're not comfortable, but have somewhere that then they can be like, I like this package that you do, and you have somewhere for them to go. Or if they're not sure, if they want to book a call, they can book a call, and so on that way. But Nicola, I'm really interested, obviously, to hear your thoughts on this as well.
I agree 100%. it's almost like a conversation starter, isn't it? It's like something for them to go off from. But again, be mindful about how much information you put in. You want it to be very clear, very concise, and easy to read. It needs to be visual. It's a portfolio of your work. So you need to make sure that this is the main focus, that you don't go too much about your rate card, because perhaps you could have a separate landing page for that as well, depending on what someone is asking you for. So that's just another idea as well. But just to have it clear, simple, with no too much going on, because yes, you want to showcase your personality, but in like edited down way, when you don't make too much noise.
I only do like a slight overview, because then I'm like, I have a full,
just a little.
I'll send to someone if they request my rate card or what exactly I do. They get the full, just that then. Whereas I wouldn't put all of it in, because also too, sometimes people don't know, and sometimes they need to chat to you first / do a call to them, be like, this is what I'm after, and then you can be like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. You wanted to open a conversation, so you don't want to be too radical. Going back to the portfolio types just for a second, I also wanted to touch upon, because obviously we've talked about the platform Playbook so many times that we should honestly be sponsored by them at this point. But it is such a great platform, because you can organize your content, but also showcase it in a variety of ways. So perhaps it's me just being lazy, but for me, I really have that weird mindset that my work does the talking for me. So I do just have that Playbook website, which actually now you gave me a great idea, Ali, about connecting my domain. The thing that I love the most about it is the layout of it. It's so easy. It's so clean. You've got your folders on the side. Whichever you click, you see all the visuals from that category. So I do have it with the industries, right? I only have 5 to 6 videos from each. Yeah. And then again, it's hard because you feel connected to the videos that you create. They're like your little babies. So it's quite hard to click that delete button, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's like a barrier in your mentality. Just don't be a portfolio hoarder. Don't do it.
Nicola, I might get you someday. I'll be like, there's access to my portfolio. Go delete the ones because sometimes you do get.
Let's do that. Let's swap them.
And I'll be like, I like this, because I will always tell clients this as well. It's like, go and look at other people's, because you will always get blindsided because you're too close to see what's in front of you.
Yes.
That is genuinely such a thing. Not until you step away or you look at someone else's and you critique that, you'll be like, oh, they've done this. Oh, I don't like that. That doesn't. But then you go look at your own, like, well, I've done this, and
I've done the exact same.
Literally, and then you could be like, so I always recommend people, even when it comes to social media, but also when it comes to portfolios, whatever, go look around and see what's out there and see what you like and don't like. Then bring that back to you and be like, well, how can I improve mine? I will tell you now, there's definitely things you'll look at someone else like, oh, that doesn't really work. I don't get that, or oh, they should have added this. Do you know what I mean? So
it's going to spark something.
Yes, always do like a little bit of a competitor analysis.
Andrea, would you like to share your insights from the graphic designer? Because I'm very interested to hear what your personal favorite type of portfolio would be if you had to judge someone by it. What your insights are from the design point of view.
I've seen so many Canva portfolios and I like them. It's such an easy way to create a portfolio, because if you're doing it from scratch, or actually creating a website, it's really, really hard, especially like if you want to do it really from scratch, you want it to look professional, you want it to look polished. But if you're not really into that whole process, if you don't know all of the steps, of course it will not look as polished. So I would definitely say try to find as many shortcuts as possible, like to make it look a bit more polished, a bit more professional. As Alice said, like buy the domain. That looks so much more professional than just actually going to Canva. Even though it might be created on Canva, it will still, like, those tips and tricks. Try to see what other creators have done. From what I've learned from graphic design is to have your own style and be aware that people will remember you based on the visuals, like based on what they see first, based on how you introduce yourself. Especially like creators are still like very visual people. They might not be doing logos and social media posts, but as a graphic designer, but still like the colors that you put in there, the icons that you put in there, the font, even maybe the style, the overall style will either attract or repel some brands. Like you need to be as specific to your own style as possible, but also be aware that if you just want to be focused on only a certain type of brand, like niche brands, aesthetic brands, that will either need to be reflected in your portfolio. So you need to make it a bit more stylish, or just if you want to work with those types of brands, you need to make it very personalized to those, like aesthetic. But also if you don't want to, try to be still like putting your personality in there, very organized, very nicely, very aesthetic. If you want to work with like a lot of different brands, try to be, I don't know,
Neutral.
yeah,
It is neutral though,
feel
yeah.
like in your own way. And I like Canva, but stay away from the templates, like already done templates, because if a brand receives a couple of literally the same portfolios, it will not make you stand out from the rest. I love Canva. Canva is very easy to use, but it can be very hard to be.
It's original. You can't be original.
Yeah,
I don't think
you
sometimes.
cannot be very original if you don't put in the work, or if you don't research what you like, what aesthetic you want to focus on, what you want to be included in your portfolio. Also, send it to other people, like friends, family, someone that has nothing to do with UGC or just like portfolios in general. Just let them see it. Let them see if they think it's you, if it makes sense for you, if it's easy to understand.
I think that's great though too, even from the point of view of like, especially if you could show it to someone that has no clue about UGC, because as you said there, Andrea, like it is new, and especially with smaller brands that are now starting to tap into it. Obviously bigger brands had budget originally to be going straight at it, whereas now smaller brands are like, you know what, this could work for us. They don't always know. And like so many times, even for example, if I'm on calls with people, I'm sitting going back to the actual basics of what UGC is and the point of it. And like sometimes too, then I'm kind of like, I forget, because it's what my life's about. It's what my job's about. I'm so in it that sometimes it is just going back to be like, okay, can I explain this really simply that they'll get it? Because also too, the thing I hate in marketing is things get overcomplicated for no point. So try to make it as simple as possible that people then will understand, because if it feels easy, it's an easier decision to make, rather than if it's like really complicated, they get overwhelmed or like. And also too, to just mention on Andrea's point, Canva is great. And I have said I use Canva. I love Canva. However, you do need to take the time working out your personal brand. For me personally, I have brand colours. I have a yellow, I use it in everything, and that's my mind. I'm like, if anyone sees that shade of yellow, I want them to always think Ali marketing. That is me. So anytime I ever post, that's always the colour. That's always, I do have other brand colours, but that's the primary one. So on my portfolio, on my social posts, it's all linked around that. And also too, when it comes to even the fonts, like I completely forgot all about all this, but I think it is so important too. And I appreciate that you said it. Is I took so much time trying to work out like, what's my tone? What's the overall look of everything? And how do I want people to feel when they like watch that, or they read that, or they see that? Because at the end of the day too, that's once again, I keep going on about interviews and cover letters, but like it's that initial presentation and it all ties together. If you are Angle, for example, I like aesthetic, I like kind of like skincare, beauty, luxury. I love that style and that type of content. I don't now always work for those brands or like do those brands specifically. However, that's how I want things to look. Whereas if I didn't and I had really bright out there crazy, that wouldn't be them for those like jewelry, like luxury brands more, because they're going to be like, that's more of a louder brand. Keeping it to you, but also keeping it enough.
Open enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Creating a portfolio is one of the hardest things.
Took me ages.
As a creator in general, whether that would be a graphic designer, UGC creator, whatever, that's the hardest thing, because it needs to be very intentional. It needs to be very polished. It needs to look professional. And also that's your CV, your cover letter, because that is what the brands see. And you want to appear professional, even though you might find shortcuts and like some tips and tricks that will make your portfolio look a bit more polished. That's completely fine. I mean, I do that all the time, but still, like it does need to look very very intentional, very personalized, very original.
I think it comes back to the point of treat Canva, all of those things, ChatGPT as tools. They are tools. They're not going to give you an end result. Don't count on that, because you will just be very disappointed with either the result or the results that it's going to bring you. Either way, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and even because I was just thinking now, when I was going through the applicants before Andrea joined, I was able to check a lot of portfolios. Most of them were made in Canva, which I really don't mind. It's fine. It's just that sometimes they would just put like a next kind of like button and you just have to click on it so you can see the next page, which is like,
Oh.
why do you do that?
Why?
First instinct is to just scroll, right? Because you want to see the next page. Like small things like this are just, they make such a huge impact on the audience. Oh my god, I saw some ugly fonts that I don't understand what is written, or it's just like it makes me, I don't want to read this, you know?
Aggressive.
It's aggressive, or it's just ugly, you know? It just doesn't make, do you want this to be related to your personality? Like, think twice before you actually use that font, you know?
It's all those subconscious things that you will pick up. But even back to the fact that you're saying about clicking the next button, that's something that's so simple that they might not have thought of. But like, look at all of our social media platforms, all of our content, we're scrolling. So like, that's what
it's for a reason as well.
As soon as you stop and you have to do something else, like, oh, you're already, it's like a extra thing. Like, I don't want to have to do that. Like, also too, you don't know how many portfolios someone has to look through a day that they will just be like, keep it simple. I agree too, because there's sometimes people use those handwriting fonts. I'm like, yeah, they good for a graphic, but they're not useful. They're not worthwhile.
Can't see.
If it's a one-off title, but you should never be writing your actual content.
Oh,
like
no.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
Stay away.
Yeah, the simple the better. I think we mentioned this like thousands of times for every single thing that we talked about in UGC. And if you don't know colors, or if you're just like, oh, I don't know what goes with this or what goes with that, because I was in those shoes at some point, and I was just like, okay, what colors go well with this color and then that color, and I think I was just googling this, you know, like, okay, I have this color, just give me some other colors. So go for ChatGPT or just go for Google and ask research. You know, yeah, just do your research. And if you're still not into colors or, you know, all these kind of things, just make it neutral. That's the only, that's the safest way to go.
Like, you can go on Pinterest, you can go on, like, even ChatGPT, I guess. They can generate colors for you. Like, you can search, like, color palettes and maybe pick a color that you like. It might be used by someone else, but it's still gonna be a bit more original than just using the ones that are already in Canva, if that makes sense.
All right. Any other points that we want to add to either of these topics?
I think we've covered it. I think we've covered it really nicely, and we talked both about the intro video for, you know, portfolio for the clip users, but also portfolio just for UGC creators in general, because obviously you need both when you're on clip. So I think it's an episode that I would love to watch when I was creating my portfolio, and now it makes me want to go on my portfolio and do some damage. So that's good.
Motivated for some reason. I was like, oh, but I need to pick an aesthetic for myself as well, because I'm so into like
I need a personal brand now.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think it's a very insightful one, especially for creators out there that I don't think it's just for creators that are starting out on their portfolio. I think it's for any, you know, step that you are in your UGC journey at this point. So yeah, just give it a go. Check it out. See if you ticked your boxes or not. If there's anything that you want to change or you want to swap. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions or topics that you want us to discuss in our future episodes. Feel free to reach out to us over email hello@useclip.com if you want to change your intro video, or if you just want to get, like, I don't know, information or just some advice. We're also on social media, so Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Just give us any comments or questions, and we're more than happy to chat there. Andrea, thank you again for coming to this episode and for just joining the topic of today. Hopefully we'll see you more in in our podcast.
I'm excited when you invite me. So much for having me.
Yeah, we will definitely invite you more. So, because it's a pleasure for us to have you here. And we'll see you in our next episode.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.